Deb's got the listings lined up in a row. Josh brings the numbers, making dreams grow. First-time buyers stepping through the door. Keys to the castle, they're what we're here for. Navigating through the home buyer's maze. Educated steps in a world full of haze. The podcast is rolling with wisdom to share, helping you settle in your new lair. Navigating through the home buyer's maze. Educated steps in a world full of haze. The podcast is rolling with wisdom to share, helping you settle in your new lair. Jeb and Josh, they're paving the way. Dreams to reality, they make it day. From the first hello to the closing sign, your journey to home is looking divine. The numbers make sense. Jeb shows the vision beyond the white fence. Teamwork like this is rare to find, helping you leave all your doubts behind. They talk about homes and talk about life, cutting through the stress and the buyer's strife. With every word they light up the spark, guiding you through when the road feels dark. Jeb and Josh, they're paving the way. Dreams to reality, they make it day. From the first hello to the closing sign, your journey to home is looking divine.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Educated Homebuyer Live, here to update you on real estate, mortgage, the economy, have some fun. Mr. Josh, we were off last week.
We were. You were still vacationing. I was recovering from my vacation because Monday night we didn't get to talk about it because you were out of the office. We went to see Midland at the North Idaho Fair, and apparently they were giving away free beer because the last half of the show and the next morning are just a fog right now.
They were giving it away, but you didn't have to consume it.
It was rude. It's rude when guests are giving you 805s and you say, not me. I'm not going to drink that 805.
Well, there we go. So, well, guys, welcome back. You didn't miss a lot in the market last week. We'll talk about it today, talk about interest rates, some positive signs out there on that front. And things are trudging along, if you will, if that's even a word. But what we're going to do is start updating you on some charts as we always do. If you have questions, now's a good time to get them in the chat. We kind of go in order. So the earlier you get your questions in, the better.
First in, first out. We're a FIFO system.
FIFO, baby. But we might switch it up. You never know. Like just to play games. We like to play games.
You might go LIFO just to mess with them. I got it.
That LIFO and FIFO. There we go, baby. So anyhow, that's what we're gonna do. And let's start with some charts, Mr. Lewis. So the title of the episode is that basically that Zillow has once again changed its its forecast with regard to home prices. So for the last couple of months, they've had a downward revision on home prices, slightly negative. Now their revision from July of this year to July of next year is slightly positive, coming in, but just less than 1% is what they're predicting. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit detail. But what do you see in that chart there?
They are very committed to the idea of a nowcast. I think they could brand or talk about their numbers a little bit better because people like to laugh at them. They're dumb. It was going through the roof, then it was going down, then it's going sideways. Now every month they're updating the numbers.
If people are talking about you, you're relevant, right?
That may be the theory they're following with, but this truly is a nowcast. It is what is today's data telling them, and the data next month may tell them a different story.
It's interesting. I don't know if you read the report today from Calculated Risk where Tom Lawler had gone in and looked at NAR's estimate. Did you see that one?
I did not.
It's interesting to read, but we could talk about a little as we get out of the charts. But essentially, National Association of Realtors data and Tom Lawler's data, who basically looks at micro data in a lot of these markets and comes up with his own estimates, and he's often more accurate than anyone else.
Very
when
accurate.
looking at that. He basically says that National Association of Realtors estimates are high on the estimated home sales still, and that their revisions or their year over year home price appreciation levels are actually too low in a lot of their markets. So it's an interesting read. I meant to throw some charts in here, but kind of got behind the eight ball here at the end. But it's
you would think that Jeb, after a while, when he's more right than them month after month after month,
would
they
just
would
hire
say,
him.
let's just hire this guy. He could be our data
Exactly.
department.
That's not how it works. That's no fun. But anyway, so Zillow is forecasting price growth. So I like to look at what markets they're expecting to do the best. And out of the 300 metros that they look at, their biggest increases are in the Northeast, as we've talked about many times. They're expecting Atlantic City at 4.3%, Torrington, Connecticut. Don't even know where Torrington is. Connecticut's not a big place, so it's somewhere in Connecticut. Then you got Michigan, New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois, New Hampshire, Tennessee. 3 more in Connecticut. I've heard of New Haven. That's essentially in Hartford. And then but a lot of these, if you're looking, kind of run the East Coast. I mean, this is really East Coast driven for the most part when you look at these markets. Illinois is about as far Midwest as you go on this chart. So a lot of those markets are expected to do well, but we also know those are the markets with the tightest inventory and have continued to still get that growth, still get that demand that we're missing in a lot of markets. Now, when it comes to metros, they're expecting to decline. It's essentially the state of Louisiana. The entire state of Louisiana is expected to fall.
Don't go to Louisiana and buy a house.
But Louisiana, Texas, Santa Rosa, California and Chico, California. So it's essentially Louisiana takes, I would guess, 10, if not more, of the 15 list. You got a couple in Texas and 2 in California. So some differentiating markets, that bifurcation that we've talked about, Josh. Just some markets are still doing strong. Some markets are a little weaker. So it's important to pay attention to what's going on in your neck of the woods. But inventory overall is kind of moving sideways. Went from 860,000 to 861,000. So not really much of an increase there. But the key is that you're not seeing that negative. The numbers drop quite yet. So you still want to see positive prints if possible, because that means there's more inventory out there. It's better for buyers, better for everyone. When you do have some inventory out there in the market. Last year we were 704,000, so 22% better than that time last year. Here in Orange County,
Jeff, just real quick, go back to that.
Yeah.
Something that is interesting to me, and I've been expecting it would change. We're going on 6 weeks where that is almost a flat line.
Yep.
And if you look at all of these other years, it's almost always an inflection point. I guess there's early 2024.
2019 kind of was flattish in that time. If you look up there, just above it.
Yeah. So maybe it is normal. Maybe I'm just not looking at the chart.
Yeah,
right.
no, but we'll see. We'll see, right? We don't know quite yet what that looks like. But looking here at Orange County, this to me looks like we could have reached the peak in inventory if this, just based on what that chart looks like compared to previous years, kind of looks like once you reach the top and you start trending down, that is the trend. This would be a more normal year compared to the last 2 years. This is our data. That's why we don't have 5, 6, 7, 10 years going on these charts. So you don't have the previous years looking on here, which quite frankly is helpful. But it just shows where inventory is. 4,826 homes in Orange County, 298 in Huntington Beach. So Huntington's kind of bouncing all over the place. But either way, the next couple of weeks will tell us what inventory does, at least for the foreseeable future, because interest rates could impact that. So now when we look at new listings, slightly above where we were last year, 66,000 compared to 64,000. So still above last year. For the past 3 years, we've seen a rise in seller activity in the first few weeks of September, and then we start to see the seasonal decline. So we'll watch over the next couple of weeks and report, and then chances are new listings are likely going to drop off there a little bit as we head into that fall winter market, which again, every buyer I've been talking to, I've just been saying, hey, listen, inventory is likely going to start tightening up here if rates stay where they are and we move into that seasonal, that traditional fall real estate market, because just going to be less sellers out there willing to go through that during that period of time. Weekly pending sales, slightly above last year. Total pending sales slightly above last year. Not going to dig into those. properties with price reductions, 42% compared to 39% last year. I mean, this chart looks very similar to 2024, just above it, right? It started out above and it's kind of maintained, kept essentially the same distance between that chart the entire time. So if that's the case, it looks like we'll probably hit a peak here in the next probably 3 to 4 weeks, and you'll start to see that number come down.
I was almost going to ask why they just started tracking this in 22, because in 2020 and 21 it was just pinned down at like 1% because no one had to cut a price. So it's probably when the data actually got interesting.
Exactly. And at the moment, it's quite frankly, not really that interesting either, but it is what it is. So Josh, we get, seen rates come down. We've seen mortgage or refinances start to pick up, a lot more calls, a lot of people reaching out and being on that watch list. So what are we looking at in this chart?
We look at that application data. Sometimes I'll throw that chart in here just so you can see that it's trending up. You go, oh, cool, trending up compared to what? Well, you're still at very, very low levels. Quarterly, less than 200,000 cash out refis. But the important part that you see here, when refinances are opportunity driven, meaning I have the opportunity to lower my rate, that's when the blue is poking out there. When they're need driven, I need to consolidate some debt, I need to buy out my ex-wife, any number of those things, is when the yellow starts overtaking the blue. And you can see we've been, since mid 2021, the yellow has been higher than the blue. We had a big blip. You can see on the far right bottom there. Blue jumped up there at the end of last year, beginning of this year, but it's going to take rates moving lower. There's not a lot of people who can benefit from rates at the current levels, but there are. I got probably 7 or 8 refinances going, rate and term refinances, for people who bought at a higher point and they have big enough loans that they're saving 0.5%, 0.75%, several of them doing them no cost. And at that point you say, hey, I'm just going to chip my way down at this versus waiting for a 1 or 2% drop. This again shows you just the percentage. Cash outs as a percentage of all refinances. Right now we're at like 70%. It had been at one point up over 90%. Really just another measure of interest rates being high relative to the volume of loans out there originated at lower levels. Very boring week again here in economics, things that are market moving. So the Truflation figure here, 2.12. Yesterday was a 2.16. A week ago, 2.06. So definitely trending up. If we knew that CPI was in that 2% level, wouldn't be much of a concern. It's this recent trend here of it going up and seeing what's going to happen potentially with the tariffs. We got to look here. Atlanta Fed, their GDP now estimate. And remembering, there's no one at the Fed going, hey, here's my projection. They have a model that takes in all of the data. It's very volatile, especially earlier in the quarter. So they're up over 2%. The blue chip consensus is under 1%. We're going to get the second look at Q2 GDP. Jeb, I don't know if it's tomorrow or Friday, but it's not great data. It's not recessionary. It's not negative, but not positive.
So hold on, go back to that chart, Josh. So right now, Atlanta Fed is above 2, blue chip is under 1. Do you remember what it was in the first quarter when it actually was negative, where they were in comparison to one another?
I don't. I think they keep the historical data there. Maybe it's a research project we could do this week, Jim.
Yeah, just interesting to see how off, like who's normally more accurate, at this stage of the game.
And what you generally see, the blue chips adjust through more so than the data does, and they'll converge. They end up generally pretty close to each other by the end of the quarter. Where are we looking at right now? Down under 90% probability of a cut at the September meeting, 88.2% versus 11.8 staying put. I don't think anyone in the Fed funds futures market, at least per the CME, is projecting anything lower than that. So this shows us another look at it. We have 3 more meetings this year. So 88% chance of a cut at the first, 60% chance of a cut at the second one if we don't get it there at the first. So definitely still counting on 1 to 2 cuts in the next 2 meetings, the preponderance of that. But if you look at it, really only counting on 2 cuts between now and the end of the year, and that is 100% data dependent. We're seeing these numbers swing around a lot, where the market is 98% confident we're getting a cut, and then it goes to 85. We're going to get PCE this Friday. It's not generally a market mover because a lot of the data comes out, the internals of that come out in earlier releases. So the market has a pretty good idea of what it's going to be. And it is less important to the market, who will trade the market, than CPI, which came out a couple weeks ago. Again, take this for what it's worth. When we look at this chart, we do have a pennant forming here, which would tell you we would expect a breakout. But here's the same chart with just 2 additional lines drawn on it. They've shown this range. We're going back at least a month to the beginning of August. We've been in a very narrow range. We're at the bottom of that range. So you can look at that orange pennant and say, hey, we're going to break out. We're breaking out. It's going to move lower. Or you can just say, hey, we're at the bottom of this range and likely to slide our way back up to the top of the range until we get data to move it one way or the other, to say, hey, it's not as good as it looks, or it's better than it looks. What does it mean in terms of interest rates? Down in that 6.5 range. If we had been here last Wednesday, Jeb, I think it was very, very similar. No, it's down 0.1 over the week. So 6.6 last week, 6.51. And the mover, I meant to see if I could pull a slide of a few quotes, was Powell at Jackson Hole last week. He was fairly dovish. The days before that, rates had popped up a little bit because we had a few Fed speakers coming out saying, jobs market is great. Inflation's getting out of control. We need to see what happens with tariffs. Powell was pretty low key about it, but I'm saying he does expect inflation to tick up due to the tariffs, but that it's temporary and transitory, not going to be long lived. So FHA and VA, low 6s there, and that's about accurate. The better qualified you are, the better numbers you're going to get.
All right. And there's a QR code on the screen, or you can head over to jebsmith.net/rate-watch if you do have a mortgage looking to refinance and don't want to watch it every day. Let our team take care of that for you. Reach out if and when interest rates actually drop, and can put you in a good spot. So again, jebsmith.net/rate-watch. So Josh, I want to take a minute here and just talk about the episode we filmed today. So Vantage Score is something that is coming out hopefully by the end of the year. Vantage Score is basically a different model of credit scoring, right? Currently, the model that everybody's using is FICO. It's been around the last 30 or so years, and now there's a competitor on the scene. The idea is that Vantage Score, when you log into your credit card and you log into some of these different websites and it gives you a credit score, chances are it's a version of Vantage Scores. It might not be 4.0, but it's a version of that. In theory, that Vantage Score is going to allow you to, a lot of people out there, I think 33 million more Americans, Josh, will have a credit score with Vantage versus not having it. Not all of those people are home buyers, but it's going to help a lot of people out. The reason I bring that up is because we actually had, what was Tony's title there, Josh?
VP of consumer outreach, I believe, but we learned throughout the interview today he's had very high level positions at Freddie Mac, at Fannie Mae, and the National Association of Realtors. So it was a really good interview. He educated us and just super informative.
We became educated.
We are now educated home buyers.
Yes. But anyway, the reason I bring that episode up is it will drop on Monday of the podcast. He talks about it. He talks about the advantages of it, gives us a predicament, an estimate of when he thinks it's going to come out. And it's a really good episode. If you truly are an educated home buyer, you're looking to learn, it's one that you want to watch. It's a third party, just, there's no promotion there. It's literally him just telling us the good stuff. And it'll be out on Monday on the podcast, on Spotify, all that good stuff. So make sure you check it out. All right, Mr. Lewis, there was a comment here that I wanted to start with, just because it's always good to get positive feedback and from people that have just found the channel. And I can't read what that says from here. Apagado, is that what it's?
Yeah, it's the app cat, the Apagado, the app cat.
Well, there you go. I knew nothing. I'm still learning here, guys. But it just basically says, new subscriber, this content has insane value. So we appreciate that. Appreciate the comment. Appreciate you being here. We are here to help educate and help guide, and hopefully you guys are finding some value in that. Another great comment, Josh, is AG saying, hello, butt boys. I don't know how he knows our nickname, but he does. And it's really weird. I mean,
only our wives call us that.
Yeah, it's really weird, but we appreciate you being here. All right. Let's start with Josh, what are we going to start with?
There's first off, I want to say a couple of things here. We have a few comments. So Dixieland says, somehow missed last week's episode, been waiting. So unfortunately, we left them hanging while they were waiting for the show. Willing one up that, since we weren't here. Where were we last Wednesday? Waited up until midnight for the show to begin, and then our favorite viewer Wesley pipes in and calls us slackers for taking a little time off and recharging the batteries and visiting family like my grandma.
I mean, this tells me that these people don't pay attention Actually, I don't think we said anything. We never told them we were leaving, did we?
Yeah, we talked about it afterwards. We left them hanging. We
Okay.
did leave you in the
I take
dark.
that
We should have told you.
We should have told you, but you know what? Surprise. We weren't here last week. We just told you now. All right. Regino has a question, just says, watching from Napa Valley, asking about accepting loan applications for second mortgages, 750 credit scores. Josh, what does it look like to qualify for a second mortgage? What do you need equity wise? What do you need credit score wise? And what does the rate look like today?
So generally above 680, we have a few that will go as low as 640 and possibly even 620. They get really ugly, both in terms of low loan to value, meaning you have to have a bunch of equity and a really high interest rate when you go to those lower scores. So you generally want to have above 680. The better the credit score, the better it's going to get. All the way up to that 780, 800 tier is going to continue to get better. Impossible, Regino, to answer a question in this forum. So use the link at the bottom, jeffsmith.net/start, or even email info@theeducatedhomebuyer.com, and we can get back to you on this, because this is not like Fannie Freddie loans. I've got 40 different investors that we can sell a Fannie Freddie loan to. So we can look at it. They're all in a pretty narrow range, and we can look for who has the best terms. This one is really the right borrower, the right lender for the right borrower, because they all have different specialties. Are we talking full doc? Are we talking $100,000 loan? Are we talking a $400,000 loan? A million different little things that go into that. But if you have a 680 plus credit score, if you have a 780 plus credit score, we're gonna have a lot of options for you. So reach out. We can go through the numbers, let you know what that would look like.
All right. Let's see here. I saw a question, Josh. Platinum Black is asking a question that a lot of people ask, but he's got a jumbo loan, down 0.25% since he got his loan, or since the numbers have you originally spoke to him, asking what point it's worth running new numbers. So Josh, when should somebody call back out? When should you reach out? What's the conversation look like?
Only if it's going to change your decision. If you say, hey, 0.25% on $1 million loan, I don't know, it's a couple $100 difference in the payment. Am I going to run out and buy a $50,000 more expensive home because of that? If not, I wouldn't worry about it. You don't have a property under contract, so we don't need to lock it. We don't even have an opportunity to lock it. So it could just as easily go back the other way and be back at a 0.25%, and we wasted both of our time. So if it's not going to change your decision-making process, there's no need to rerun those numbers. Once we find a property, we'll adjust it and we'll know exactly where the market is at that time. And hopefully it's another 0.25% lower. We just don't know what's going to happen between now and then. So it really comes down to, how does it impact your decision-making process? If you know I'm looking at homes in this price range, regardless, I wouldn't worry about it. If it might push you to a little higher price point, open some things for you and Jeb to look at, then absolutely let's jump on a call and go through it.
All right. Miscellaneous of the whatever. Hello, my friend is closing on a new build in 7 weeks. Her credit score 749. Builder lender rate was 7 1/8. 0 point last week. If she can get her credit score to 750, can she get a better rate?
There's so many things here that I want to ask that you probably wouldn't know, miscellaneous of the whatever. But 7 1/8 is insane. Builders are subsidizing interest rates, so the built through their lenders. So why you would be 5/8 above the market? Something's telling me bad credit, something along those lines. And I hope they're getting a big incentive in the form of closing cost credits to accept a 7 1/8 rate, because there's really, short of it being an investment property with moderate, mediocre credit score, there's really no reason for that FICO to be in that range, or that rate to be in that range.
Good stuff. I guess I should have started by saying I've had this throat thing like the last couple of days, where throat sore primarily at night when I sleep. Wake up dry as the desert, dude. Like hard to swallow, the whole thing. During the day, completely fine. That said, when I talk a lot, sometimes like I get to say something and it won't come out because my throat just dries up. Josh, if that's the case, you have to jump in here, man.
I'll just keep talking.
You just got to go.
Whoa,
So,
whoa,
I do have water.
Whoa. Jeb, we have something very strange.
Who is that?
That's Jennifer Lego. 3.5 years into her experience as a homeowner, having left moderating this humble show 3.5 years ago, checking in to say hello and buying me an 805. That was nice of her.
Dude, you can't buy an 805 anywhere for $5. Actually, Idaho, you might be able to. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Jennifer, good to see your name. Thanks for being here. Great. You and Willing is definitely going to reach out and say something to you here shortly. So it's good to see your name.
Willing will, but who was Willing's girlfriend? Because she disappeared a while ago. Why?
Ran her away.
Well, he scared her away.
Okay, sure.
Now I feel bad. I can't keep all of our VIP viewers straight.
It will come back. She was in Florida. Started with a D.
Well, I might have to go. We might have to go
hold
back
on.
2 years and look at the comment section.
I will think it starts with a D. It was what was her name? Dana. Dana?
Not Dana.
No, Dana?
Maybe she got a house too. Maybe she got the house and she
All
moved
right.
on.
Let's see here. So Anu says 2 questions on appraisals. Are reports public records? The answer is no. Do appraisers have access to past appraisal reports of a house and or their comps? They do not. There is a database of appraisals for purposes of
Fannie and Freddie
Yes.
maintain them so that
Yes.
they have their model there that they use to determine whether they're going to do an appraisal waiver or not. But totally proprietary, not shared with anyone. I can't look at it. You can't look at it. Appraisers can't look at it.
And then the second question is, and 2, can the appraisals be challenged or appealed? And the answer is yes. You can always appeal a VA. There's something called Tidewater that is easy to go back and rebut or try to challenge. And then with Fannie and Freddie, you can do it through your lender. Is that right, Josh?
Any loan you can go back. So the VA has its own process, but the others, it's called a reconsideration of value. I don't know if it was the FHFA or the CFPB. They tightened up this process here recently. I know what you're looking at. Willing's going to get booted if they keep making us laugh.
Is Pound City and Pound Town the same place?
Well, don't you remember the person that asked a month ago about buying the house in Pound City, which was the upper echelon area next to their town?
I do remember, Josh. I was just making conversation.
It is near Pound Town. They're adjacent. One's the higher end area. So that reconsideration of value process has gotten formalized, and you have to be notified that you have to initiate it. So your lender can look at it and go, "Oh, this sucks. I want to initiate it." They literally have to have you request it and explain why you think the value is not there. But yes, there is always a reconsideration of value process where you can push back on a low appraisal.
All right, we got some good information coming back, but I want to do Jennifer's another $2 for super chat. Josh, you're getting close to your beer here.
I got an 805 now.
Is it a good time to get a HELOC? So Josh, I guess to each his own, but just like looking general time in the market, is it a good time for a home equity line?
Good time. I mean, do you need it? Do you want it? There's been a big shift. Like I read an article just a couple of days ago. Chase just reintroduced HELOCs. They got out of the market during COVID for whatever reason. It spooked them, and they stopped doing them entirely. Well, they came back into the market with something that's much more common now than what it was previously. It used to be 10-year draw period where you can use it like your credit card, and then a 15 to 20-year repayment period for a 25 to 30-year total loan. Now, what a lot of them are doing is a 3-year draw period because they don't want this thing hanging out there. They don't want it as liquidity for you in case something goes sideways, you lose your job. They're underwriting you now. They want to make that balance, that draw period available for 3 to 5 years. And then it starts the repayment. So they're not quite as flexible or as good as they used to be. You can still get those. So again, Jennifer, reach out and just shoot us an email, and I can get you some answers on your specific situation. But in general, if you would like it, if it's something, like Jeb and I have been looking at homes to buy and invest in and renovate. So for us, is that a good thing to have that there and available once we find a property? Yes, it is. So could it be for you? Could you have uses where you might want to use it short-term, pay it down? Just depends on what you want to do with it. Are we actually using the money, or we just want to have it there?
All right. Let's see. I saw another question here, Josh. It was from earlier.
Well, while you're looking for that one, Jay Stoney wants to know if there are any good deals in Poundville, Texas.
That must be part of the triangular.
That's not like Pound City. It's not Pound Town. It's Poundville.
Poundville. That's like the Research Triangle Park in Raleigh. Just 3 different cities that connect.
Yes, those 3 cities where all the engineers live.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know where the question went, so we are at that point where we're looking for.
Keep looking for it. Miscellaneous of the whatever comes back. Purchase price $585. Builder credit $35,000.
Still need credit score though, but $35,000 credit.
That interest rate,
10%.
Yes, that's bonkers. And that interest rate is crazy. So it's probably the right thing to do. If someone wants to give you that much money to take a market above market interest rate, because you can refinance it. And just so you guys know, if you go through the builder's lender and they want to give you $35,000 to take their awful terms, you guys always like to ask when rates are dropping. How long do I have to wait to refinance? There is no limitation on you. If you want to come to me the day after you close that 7 1/8 rate and get their $35,000, we can refinance that immediately. That's a problem for them. If that's the way they want to play the game, normally we don't want to do that because there is such thing as an early payoff penalty. The lender will have an issue, but they're playing fast and loose with the rules, and there's not going to be a loan officer that helped you, held your hand, did your loan for you that ends up with an early payoff penalty. That's the builder's going to eat it on top of the $35,000.
749 credit score too, Josh. So really atrocious rate for that.
That's bonkers. That is bonkers that they would even try that.
All right. So got a question here. What happened to the big, beautiful bill video you guys were going to pull out? People in the food and beverage industry. So it was published. Video was, when was that one, Josh? Do you have the actual?
Oh, why do I have it? Yeah, August 11th. It was published August 11th, Mr. Jeb, almost 2 weeks ago.
What was the title of the episode?
New tax rules could shake up the housing market.
There you go. So Mr. Trump's big mug is on the President Trump's big mug is in the back of Josh and I. Huge savings across the thumbnail there if you're looking for it. So that should answer your questions on that one. We're at that point in the show. Ask a favor. If you find any value, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, now's a good time to do it. Both channels. You know, a lot of you guys are reaching out. A lot of you guys are giving us the opportunity to help. We appreciate that. Just all of a sudden, it seems really weird. Like, you know, it's market's kind of, it's not slow. Definitely not crazy, but more and more of you guys are reaching out, and we appreciate that. So if we could be of assistance to you, whether you're going through the pre-approval process, looking for a quote, trying to buy a home, jebsmith.net/start will get you in touch with us, and we can guide you through that process. But just wanted to say thank you for continuing to help us grow the channel and, you know, allowing us to do this. You know, it's fun. It's fun, Josh.
Speaking of fun, Jennifer came back and asked what she's doing. Thanks. I'm refreshing my 1960s kitchen. Very good use, because 3.5 years ago, you got a much better interest rate than what's available. So again, Jennifer, just reach out. We can give you some tips. Did you do her loan? We did not, because I don't think we were doing, where was she located? I always forget. It was Midwest, wasn't it?
Indiana.
And we're still not able to assist those of you in Indiana, but we're working on it. And soon enough.
Indiana. It's like right in that area, somewhere in that area, if I remember correctly. But anyhow, my memory fails me often, my wife says. So
selective amnesia.
Yeah, she's not wrong. All right. Let's see. We've got High West Cowboy bought a property last year for $710,000 with 20% down. Need to sell it for job relocation. Can I sell it with the current market and break even? So depends. Depends on where you're located. Location. Yeah, for sure. Like I spoke to a lady today who called me, owns a property in Madera, California, up near Fresno. New construction. She sent me the link of the property. Beautiful house, like beautiful. And she bought it in 2022 and new construction. And she's at the point now where she's selling it for basically, she's just trying to break even at this point, 3 years later. So just shows you, I mean, that's California. We're in California 3 years ago. Home prices were a lot less expensive here where we are. So it's just, you know, again, location dependent, but depending on where you are, there's a high probability that you
lost wages,
that you can make more money on it or make at least break even. But if you want to reach out, if you don't, I don't know if you have an agent, need an agent, but definitely reach out. Happy to refer you to somebody that you know is vetted and meets the qualifications, if you will. Somebody that does business like I do. Happy to refer you. So,
Jeb, but the Las Vegas market, it's softened a little bit, but still.
It is. It has softened. It's softened. It's. I mean, based on some of the data I'm reading, and more so just recently. You know, so. I don't know exactly. Like I don't know if all Vegas is the same.
I would have a greater concern if you said, "Hey, it was 5% down, 20% down." We'd like to think you're going to be able to get out from under it.
Yeah, but he wants to break even. So I mean, definitely be able to
get his 20%.
That's the way I assume it. Yeah. So possibility, But yeah, I mean, talk to your agent. Hopefully you have one and can guide you in the right direction there. Jennifer was in Indianapolis. So that is in Indiana, Josh. I was right. I do know that.
I know this. I visited recently. I saw the Eagles at the Conseco Field House 2 years ago in Indianapolis.
Conseco or Conseco?
I don't know. I think that's Jose Canseco. I believe it's the Conseco Field House. I don't know. I'm not.
It'll always be Canseco, bro. Come on.
Always be
Everything
the
is Canseco.
The Canseco Field House.
Do you know what a fan I was of Jose Canseco? I had like 100+ cards of his. Fortunately, at some point, I was smart enough to start trading out of them. And I remember at the time, like this was like probably like 92 or 93. His rookie card was worth like $125, and I traded it for a Diamondback, a pink Diamondback BMX bike that had white wheels and white pedals
that
white
were brown as soon as
grips.
you started ripping around town.
Or maybe it was a Mongoose or Diamond. It's sweet bike. I'll find it and we'll put it up here on the for $100. It was a $125 trade. That Conseco card was worth about $3 about 6 months later, dude. It was the best deal in town.
So Jeb, in the last 40 years, here's how much the world has changed. You were watching baseball players and collecting Jose Canseco collector cards, and your kids follow Jose Canseco's daughter on Instagram.
They do?
Very different world.
Who's Jose Canseco's daughter?
I can't help you if you don't know who his daughter is. Let's just say that Jose Canseco dated many beautiful women back in his childbearing
I feel like I've seen her, but I don't know. Maybe I have. I'm not really privy to pop culture, Josh. You know, I'm more of a just read and digest real estate news so I can make videos. That's all I do.
So Jeb, we have more updates here. So Jay Stoney says he'll see us in Pound County, Virginia. But then he also followed up to tell Jennifer, hey, he's in Indy too. He was raised in Naptown. I think after you go to Pound Town, you go to Naptown. Isn't that how that works?
I think it is. That's exactly what happens. Too good. All right. Let's see. There was a comment. Okay. So Julio says, I recently posted a video about buying a condo would be a bad idea in certain parts of the country. Would it be a bad idea in San Diego? So I think people interpret my videos, take things and make them into what they want to hear out of them. Not saying that is you, Julio, but I've never said it's a bad idea to buy a condo. It's a bad idea to buy a condo if you're not paying attention to reserves, you're not paying attention to assessments, you're not paying attention to the minutes, you're not paying attention to the HOA docs, what the insurance looks like, that sort of thing, right? Those are bad things to get involved in when you're on a condo when you're not paying attention to them. So not all condos are created equal. And I think that's important to understand. A lot of people just go in and say, hey, I'm going to buy a condo, and they get, emotional in the process and don't do the due diligence. And they end up buying something where there's an assessment coming down the road. And they're like, I wish I would have known that. Well, you could have known it in some cases. Other cases, maybe not as easy to determine. But that said, San Diego, strong market, depends on where in San Diego. I don't know all parts of San Diego. But what I will say is San Diego's a destination town, great weather. People want to be there. Those are typically areas where the prices have remained stable for the most part. So those are areas where you would want to consider condos, right? If you were saying, hey, Jeb, I want to consider something right now in, Jacksonville, Florida, where inventory 70% higher than it was in 2019, insurance issues, people aren't buying, that's a whole different scenario. Maybe that's a wait and pause and see what happens type scenario. San Diego is a little different, I think, but again, you got to pay attention to the details. So that's where I'd start.
I have a question for someone.
Yes.
So JB Estrada, this is one we get often. These house prices are insane. Who's able to buy a house nowadays? We've gone through the data. They're skewing older, so it's more difficult for young people, skewing bigger down payments, skewing higher credit scores. But my question, JB, where are you located? And the reason why I say this is being able to assist people in more than half of the country. I'm shocked regularly at the affordable, really nice houses in many parts of the country. And so oftentimes when we're hearing this, it's people that are in much higher cost areas like Southern California, like New York, like Boston. So Would love to hear where you're at. The sales volume right now, home sales volume, is very low, largely due to this affordability. But for the same reason, we have many people who are in very affordable interest rates in homes that they bought at lower prices, and they just, hey, I don't need to sell. So low supply, low demand. So there's definitely some truth to this. Affordability is rough. But last time we were here, Jeb, we did talk about it wasn't Black Knight, someone putting out their figures on affordability and how affordability has improved, or at least how much homes are priced, or Moody's. They're just stating that we were 2.5 years ago, they figured the country was like 25% overpriced, and now they're at like 7% overpriced. So it is what it is. And here, JB's not answering here, but Momo Gets Money says Oklahoma is so affordable. I'm from LA originally, but couldn't justify staying there. So Momo, are you in Oklahoma? I have a couple people that are investing in Oklahoma.
I thought that said Mama Gets Money, and I was like, that's awesome. I thought that O was an A from where I was sitting.
He stays home and sends out Mama to get Mama go get money. I'm playing
money.
Video games. I'm doing stuff.
Fantastic. No, good stuff. Let's see. We've got, I can't read that. What does that one say, Josh? Dudica?
Yep.
Glad to catch you live. Thanks for being here. There was a question. So, Josh, if somebody does a mortgage application and the name is different than what reports on title, how do you solve that problem?
Well, we'll tell you an olden days story. My mom was a loan processor. So in the early 80s, when I'm like 8 years old, I remember this meant nothing to me at the time, Jeb, but I remember being at the office with her. She had to go back to the office one night, and she's doing a loan application in a typewriter. You had to take the form, put it in the typewriter, and type into it. And now knowing that, I'm like, that's insane. You know how often people mess up typing and you just go backspace, 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 and how many times we mess up the loan application?
Just put X's on it.
All these fun things, white out, any number of things. And really, the loan application is the easiest thing, because in a piece of software, you print a new one or you print it to PDF. It's not even real paper being damaged there. But ID, people can oversign, they can't undersign. So generally you want to match the ID. It's a good idea to have middle names, middle initials, junior, senior, third, all of that stuff, to be very clear, because there are a lot of people out there with the same name, but the loan application is a pretty easy one. I had one, we have a listener to the show that they're closing on Friday, and we get to the 11th hour. They completed the loan application without the hyphenated last name for the wife, and said, well, hey, we got this wrong. You got to get this updated, because title, and this was weird, Jeb, the HOA was saying, we're not changing this because the contract says this, and you're sending me over a deed that says this. We're not going to put this into their name. So the easy fix for us was, we went back, we had the credit report updated to the correct name, changed our loan application, changed vesting, docs are going out, everything. So it's all relatively fixable.
Good stuff. Couple good questions here. Slow Motion Foame says, what are the best upgrades to get in new construction house to maximize resale value desirability? So I will say, like a lot of new construction, you're going to have most of the bells and whistles, right? Like, so you're going to have HVAC. You're going to have like the high ticket items that a lot of buyers are looking for, like, that would be nice to have in a house, are already there in new construction. So it's like, how are you differentiating your property from other properties in new construction? A lot of it comes to upgrades like kitchen countertops and that sort of thing. But even then, it's going to be hard to justify a big value just because somebody puts, super nice countertops versus what came in the property, designer grade versus builder grade stuff. Yeah, there's some value add to it, but it's kind of a personal preference. But I think flooring's probably a big one. Changing out flooring, if there's, carpet upstairs, that sort of thing. A lot of builders like to run carpet wherever they can. A lot of home buyers, a lot of buyers don't want carpet anymore. So that could be an upgrade that you could do. Also, maybe if you can get incentives, if landscaping's not done, window treatments, like that sort of thing, things that you have to do in a new construction property when you move in, or not do, I guess you could live without the stuff. But for example, the property that I mentioned earlier with the seller that was in Northern California in Madera, like I looked through the photos that she sent me, and I know like her backyard was still empty, like there was no grass, it was still just dirt. And I think, how can you differentiate this property in a market where, there's other listings in your neighborhood for sale that are from the builder? Well, if you had a finished lot, that stands out to me because people don't want to deal with that crap. They want a property that's finished. So that's what comes to mind initially. Like new construction is a different animal because honestly, like most of it's already done. You're just kind of fine tuning some stuff at that point. Momo Gets Money said that his mama actually does get the money because she is a landlord in Redondo Beach. So I thought that was funny.
Hey, that was funny, but then also informative. He also followed up with a market update for Tulsa. Got my house on the market in Tulsa, hoping I get a buyer in the next week or two. I've been on the market 6 days with 4 showings. Median time on market 16 days in the Tulsa market. I will tell you this. Yeah. Why are you selling? Where are you going? Are we staying in Oklahoma? I'll tell you this, Jeb. I don't know what I was looking at, but the other week I saw $650,000 in near Oklahoma City, like a palace on a golf course. And I'm like, maybe I'm an Oklahoman. Maybe I was meant to be in Oklahoma.
Yeah, you say that until that damn tornado comes through that joint. You're like,
it's got a basement. It's got a basement for that.
It's just like all those people are like, let's move to Arizona. I saw that dust cloud thing come through like 2 days ago on Instagram. Dude, it looked like a wall going through that place. And I'm like, there's no part of me that wants to deal with that crap. Like everything that I can imagine that gets inside your house. Like that doesn't stay outside. That is an everything problem. So like, yeah, maybe Arizona's not my place. I'm not going there either. So I'm still looking, guys, looking for somebody to pitch me on the perfect place. I need sun when I wake up. I like no wind. I don't like the rain. Not really a natural disaster fan. I like a mild climate, 70-ish, 75. I'd like to wear shorts all year long. I mean, not expensive would be great. Low taxes. These are things I'm looking for, Josh. If anything jumps out at you, let me know.
I'll keep an eye on it. So he's follows up. He's giving us all sorts of trading a single family for a fourplex in Oklahoma City. Have a contingent offer signed already. So he has the property that he's looking to buy. He's going to house hack the 4-unit with my VA loan. So VA loan is going to get you the best terms available. No mortgage insurance. Hopefully, you're in a good spot there. I like it. He wants to be like mama and get money too. He's going to get that. And get that rent.
Mama taught some good lessons. Regino says,
don't make him mad.
You know, hey, listen, the A's and the A's in Spanish just mess me up, man. No, more so my eyes. I can't read. Trying to finish an ADU project with would a $100,000 HELOC or second mortgage be better in his situation, Josh? So would you take a second mortgage or would you do a home equity line of credit?
The best answer is reach out. We can go through more detail. In general, we have both options. They both work very well. You're going to get a lower rate with the fixed second. But if you guys remember, if you were here in early 2022, we had a lot of people going, I'm getting a HELOC. These rates are up. I'm going to get a HELOC and then I'll refinance and roll it into my first once rates go back down. Those people took out HELOCs at like 5% and they wrote them up to 9.5%, 10.5% in many cases. Well, now we're on the other side of it. You're going to pay more for the HELOC in the early going, but if and when rates do drop, it will come down and could likely end up lower than the fixed second. So, Regino, in your situation where you know you need a fixed amount of money, $100,000, if we know that's the budget for the project and we want to finish it, I would lean towards a fixed second. Has a fixed repayment period. You don't have to worry about variability. You don't have to worry about it changing. You know how much is going towards principal every month, but there's some flexibility to a HELOC, and that would be the conversation we would have if you reach out.
All right. Heather says I need to move to Jamaica. I forgot to mention, Heather, I don't like humidity either. So you got to factor that one in. So we need to go back to the drawing board.
What Jeb has just told us in different words is that he's a pain in the ass, is what he just told us.
That I need to move to jail. I need to live in jail. That's the only place that gets you all those things that I asked for. Okay. I got
a question for you, or I don't have a question for you. Zach has a question for you. Zachary Hoffman. Why are sellers and their agents so against VA loans?
I don't know that they are. I will say there's people that are misunderstood on what VA is, how it works. The old school.
The word is ignorant, Jim. They're ignorant.
Ignorant is accurate. I will say that VA loans previous to, I don't know how long, when the changes were, Josh, when VA, like veterans couldn't pay anything on closing costs, not anything, but there was a lot of fees they couldn't pay. Those were kind of a pain in the ass situations dealing with agents on the other side because nobody knew what could be paid and what couldn't be paid. And those days are gone. But with that, VA loans are flexible. VA loans don't take any longer to close. They're great loans. And right now in this environment, there's a better opportunity to get them accepted because, again, buyer demand's down, more inventory. Nobody should be pushing veterans away. But to answer your question, why are they against them? It's people misunderstood. They just don't understand what it is, and don't have the knowledge, or I guess the wherewithal to ask people, how they work.
So Jeb, you're dead right. Historically, it's been 20 years since they've modernized.
Has it been that long?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And there's still that, well, I heard there's non-allowables or things that my seller has to pay. They also will say that, oh, that VA appraisal process, they have the minimum property requirements. It's really just health and safety like any other appraisal. And in terms of the value, as we came through COVID, values were skyrocketing. You do have the VA amendatory clause where a veteran cannot waive their
appraisal.
The appraisal, because the amendatory clause says they can't be compelled to complete a transaction if the property doesn't appraise. So there's really no way around that. So there's a couple of things with that, but that VA appraisal process is far and away the most flexible. If I have appraisal come in short, we had that appraisal question earlier. You mentioned Tidewater. Tidewater is awesome because the appraiser can't deliver a low appraisal that we have to rebut. They have to reach out and say, I'm not seeing that value. Help me see it. So we're working collaboratively to get to that value. If they bring it in low, we can still go back to the VA for a reconsideration of value. They take the appraiser out of it entirely, and staff appraisers at the VA go through it. So if you're a seller and you're listening, hopefully you hear and understand these people serve the country. They earned that right. And it is the best, most flexible loan program. It's great for them. It is great for you as a seller. So don't be ignorant.
There you go. Good stuff. Going back to Willing is, I think, pulling our leg, Josh. I'm gonna allow it. Said saw a twister when he was 5, and I saw dad get sucked up. The dad gets sucked up.
He watched the movie Twister. Are you too old to remember Bill Pullman and Twister?
I thought he saw a twister.
He saw his dad fly away.
His dad get shot. I now read it differently. I saw Twister when Twister. I saw Twister. See, I need that to be capitalized so that I know it's a movie or some quotes around it or something.
Get your punctuation correct, Willing, or we're not going to list your questions.
I mean, let's be honest. Jeb's punctuation. I somehow I was in AP English. No idea how. By the way, my vocabulary punctuation sucks. Like, it's awful. And
it used to be.
I used to put commas.
It's because you're from North Carolina.
Well, that's part of it. But I would put commas in like places that no idea. And still people say words like English, like words, like not like a noun, but like some of the other ones. I don't even know what they are, Josh. I mean, is that crazy? I mean, I'm 45 years old. Not an adjective. I know what an adjective is.
You can take the boy out of Kinston, but you can't take the Kinston out of the boy.
Like an adverb. I don't know what an adverb is without looking it up. Like, I don't even know what that is.
Hey, on the plane home from Idaho, I watched a Jason Isbell documentary on HBO, and they were using like English. My dad was an English teacher. He knew all this stuff. And it was a past participle. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No one should know this. You either know how to talk and write or you don't.
Well, I don't really know how to do either of those. And so it all kind of flows together. But
here, Zach follows up with, been struggling with several sellers / agents in my area regarding the VA loan. Some are not even willing to let me see the home. A seller shouldn't know what your financing looks like. Yeah, where are you? And a seller should not even know. I'm a part of a group called Vetted VA. We've got some great agents in the program, many of them who are military veterans, and they do a great job of educating sellers and their agents to understand why it is incredibly flexible and good.
I don't want to say that it's your agent's the problem, but at the end of the day, your agent should be able to educate and have a conversation with whoever it is on the other side, and along with your lender if necessary, to show that you're well qualified and it's not an issue. So if you need somebody else, reach out. Happy to refer you. Again, we have a long list of people that understand VA. We do a lot.
Southeast Pennsylvania.
I don't know Southeast. So is that Philly? That's Philadelphia, right? That's right near there. Southeast Pennsylvania.
You want me to know geography beyond the states? You want me to know what part of the state?
I'm pretty sure because it's right near New Jersey. Like I'm pretty sure that's Southeast. But enlighten me. I might be wrong.
I'm using the Goog.
Are you? I think it's But if it is west, he says west,
That's
southwest.
different.
Well, that's
different. Very,
Um,
very different. It's like
okay.
Southwest is like Pittsburgh. Then it's near the
Okay.
Pittsburgh area.
I don't know if, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head. I know I have somebody in the Philly area, but Pittsburgh probably if you need it. So reach out. I'm happy to refer you if you need somebody. Let's see here. Did we miss any questions while we were kind of going back and forth there?
I don't think so. I think we've got all of them here, even the comments about Twister that you couldn't read properly. Maddie had a comment that those of us who learned to type on typewriters were better typists. I can still type numbers very accurately.
I get that.
I realized this the other day. This is how old I am, Jeb. I had a typing class in high school. When you said
I did as well.
Type what?
Hey, listen, I told my wife, actually the kids the other day, out of all of the classes I've taken in my entire life, typing is probably the one that I still use every day and probably the one I learned the most from, to be completely honest. Like, I mean, obviously when I was in high school, computers were around, but we were just getting the internet. Like there wasn't, we were still on like that sort of thing. So, but here, listen, learn to type,
Jeb,
wasn't one of those finger pokers.
I know how much you love fantasy football. So that dial-up modem in the 1997 draft, in the third round, that stupid modem disconnected and I got auto-picked 2 picks before I could get that damn thing reconnected. And I still won the title that year. That's
97. They had fantasy football.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did they really? Wow. I had no idea.
We have a very good question, a very pertinent question. Tom Collins says, Jeb, always enjoy competition between you and Josh. Can you beat the amazing loan he's finding me with a more amazing home in Huntington Beach? And do not let my lack of budget stop you from winning this game.
No, I can't.
So he would like you to find him a $2 million home for $475,000. Can you do it?
I cannot. I can find him a $2 million home that's amazing, but not one for 475. So I'll lose. I'll just let you win that one, Josh. That's the easier thing here. Let's see here.
If we're just wanting to talk about movies and typing now, we went off the rails. The train went off the track somewhere. We've jumped the shark.
Jumped the shark. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. All right. What do we got? So Mr. Lewis,
we have a great question that ironically is partially true. Platinum Black would like to know where you and I are hoping to invest, and are you competing with me?
Compete. Where are we trying to invest? Well, we're looking at a property right now in Santa Ana that might come to fruition here in the next couple of days. We'll find out. But no, there's no competition. We're trying to do these things together here with some flip opportunities, some distressed properties that need some repair. So we're working together on that one.
And we had a couple folks here in Indianapolis. We've talked about Indianapolis. My mom has a duplex in Speedway, literally across the street from the Speedway. And Jeb has some contacts out there. I have a listener to the show, Jeb, who we did their refinance last fall, owns property in Speedway and 2 more in Indy. It's a good market. It's a good rental market. Prices are relatively affordable. Rents are relatively high in a ratio of those. But Oklahoma's good also, all over the place. So we're open to everything.
Good stuff. This is a good question. Financial freedom. Top 3 things to do when moving into a home. Number 1 thing on my list is
change the toilet seats
into a trust. Put your property into a trust. Put your property into a trust. Put your property in some sort of trust. I mean, the one I'm dealing with right now, it was in a trust. It's not in a trust now because she refinanced, didn't put it back in. She passed away. Now it's an issue. We got to deal with getting the property back in the trust, hopefully, and or selling it with the idea that it was in the trust. Trusts save a lot of problems for everyone involved. If you love your family, if you have kids, take the time and do that. But that I know that may or may not be something that you were actually talking about there with regards to moving into a property. But once you buy a home, I feel like should be at the top of the list. Josh said change the toilet seats. You could do that.
Change the whole toilet. I would say go as far as to change the entire toilet. Most of them are old and gross and they're wasteful and they're not pretty. So invest in good toilets.
Invest in a good toilet, toilet seat I see, but listen, you're just doing your business there, man. Don't need to.
I'm picky about my toilets. They're very nice. They're very pretty. My wife keeps them nice and clean. Got to get the chair height too. None of these little low boys where you're sitting there.
No, the property I saw today, I was in a property looking at it before we got on the show, and the toilets were original toilets from like the 1970s, dude. That thing was like lower than my kneecap. Like you wouldn't even be able to get off of it. That's the best part.
No, dude.
Your knees would be like up to your chin sitting down on that thing.
So,
so what's our third thing, Josh? We haven't gotten our third.
So
thing
hold
yet.
the third thing, because there's a follow up on your first thing. Someone liked it. That was great advice. But then, does holding in a trust affect rates or loan terms? No. The type of trust that you're going to use for that purpose, 40 years ago, Fannie and Freddie pushed back against this. You can't willy-nilly move around the title and the vesting. There were some court cases about it. You can move in and out of a trust as long as you continue to control the trust, and there is no change or difference to your rate. So what is number 3? What's the third thing you should do when you move into a home?
If it's a property that's existing construction, probably change the door locks, right? Change your locks on your house.
That's a great one. That's probably before the trust. That's immediate safety.
Yeah. You want to change the locks. I would say if there are cameras on the property, Ring doorbells, that sort of thing, make sure that before the owner leaves the property that they take them out of their name. They change, remove them from their accounts, because guess what? If they're still in their accounts and you go to put that Ring doorbell or whatever camera in your name, you're not going to be able to do it. So making sure, that's something that the agent should be kind of helping you with and making sure it happens. But that sort of thing are things you need to take care of moving into a property. I could probably do a video on this. It's actually not a bad idea. So maybe we'll do that and talk about it in a little bit more detail, things that you need to focus on. Last one, Josh. We're at 1 hour and 1 minute. I think that's it. So appreciate you guys being here. Check out the episode on Monday where we talk about VantageScore in detail with Tony Hutchinson. Great episode. Until next Wednesday, buy right, borrow smart, build wealth. Adios.
Amigos.